What are some challenges that international athletes will face when they're moving to a new country? Welcome back to Translation Timeout. Today I'm going to talk about those challenges as well as how you can begin to address them in an orientation session. And I've also included a handout in the description that you can use as a template for planning your session. If you have questions at any time, please leave a comment below or email me at translationtimeout@gmail.com. So in order to improve our orientation session, we first have to look at what we're currently doing. Currently, are you just doing one session for everybody regardless of their background? Are you offering any language support for people who might need it? Are you giving any insight into unique cultural aspects of your country that might be confusing for international players? It's okay if you don't have the perfect answers for these yet. Just by watching this video and reflecting on it, you're moving in the right direction to creating a more inclusive environment for your team. Orientation is an important moment for addressing potential barriers head-on because it's where a lot of first impressions are made. It can be overwhelming and exhausting for players, especially if they're trying to communicate in a language they don't speak well and trying to adjust to a new way of life at the same time. In most cases, just one session for everybody is not going to cut it, and you'll actually want to add a second breakout session for international players where you talk about the language and cultural quirks that they'll need to know to acclimate. And let's talk about how we can plan that. Okay, there are 3 types of people that I want you to include in your planning that are not on your staff. First of all, your current and past international players. Ask them, what was challenging for you when you moved here? What do you wish you knew when you first arrived? And use that to support your new players. Second, I want you to reach out to English as a new language or second language teachers in local school districts. When I taught in public schools, I had to do orientations all the time for newly arrived refugees from other countries. And so I had a ton of material about getting around town, going to the grocery store, the types of non-athletic things that a player will still have to deal with when they move here. So I'm sure those teachers would have things to help with as well or could consult. And the third would be a linguist, like an interpreter or a translator, to help with players who don't have strong English proficiency. Again, a translator is for written language and an interpreter is for spoken language. If the orientation is going to cover all the important expectations and things you want them to know, make sure that your players understand everything. Put it in their native language if needed. One thing that sometimes gets overlooked is that international does not necessarily mean language barrier, and your players that speak perfect English can still experience culture shock. So please invite them to the international orientation. There may be some things that they can still get out of it. The handout in the description is a template for planning your orientation session. I would recommend asking your players or agents ahead of time what services they'd like to have if they need a translator or interpreter. I've listed some activities that I've done in orientations that you're welcome to change or expand on. And I've also added a couple different cultural aspects to consider. These are those non-athletic topics I talked about earlier that are challenging for people of any age, background, or talent when they're moving to a new country. In addition to things like miles versus kilometers or 911 versus 112 as an emergency number, there's also local slang and idioms that would be confusing even for a very advanced English speaker. So make a list of those, maybe add a picture, simple definition, a translation if you're able to provide one. Here's an example of one I did with food for my region. Another thing you should definitely cover is normal etiquette and expectations with strangers, because it's different everywhere and it can be very confusing as a newcomer to know, is this okay or am I about to get scammed? I've also worked with players who had no concept of putting a poster of their favorite athlete in their bedroom as a kid, because you just don't idolize people that way in their country. So it can be very confusing and overwhelming when all of a sudden there are these huge celebrities in another country. Take a look through the rest of the handout. Let me know if you have any questions. And just remember, it's better to tackle these proactively now than let issues slide until mid-season when there's travel and press events and games going on. You don't want to wait until then to help address your player stressors. Stay tuned for my next video where I will talk about names and pronunciation, and see you soon.